The police chief in Lansing, Michigan, issued an apology after an incident in which a black child was handcuffed by officers while he was taking out the trash behind his home.
Our black kids don't have no protection.
Welcome to another episode of TikTok videos. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and also leave your thought in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in. And today I don't want to focus so much on what happened in the incident, but let us shift our attention to this little boy. Let me let you listen to different opinions that people have concerning this poor boy who is now in difficulties to even step out.
I want to talk about the 12-year-old boy in Michigan who was taking out the garbage, and police showed up and put him in handcuffs because they thought that he looked like a suspect that they were looking for. This was a 12-year-old black boy in a t-shirt and shorts. Police showed up and they put him in handcuffs before they had the whole story. I guarantee you, if that had been a white 12-year-old and if the person in the photograph had been a white suspect, they would have been able to tell the difference. Or at least they would have taken the time to figure out with certainty that that was the person that they were looking for before they put a 12-year-old kid in handcuffs. They didn't do that for this boy. And you know something? His life was forever changed. He will never see the world the same way again. He just realized that society is going to tell him what happens to him. And no matter how good and well-behaved and kind and regulated he can be, it's not going to be enough. It's out of his hands. And the reason I know that is because my brother is black. And around 10, 11, or 12 was when he started to understand that being in this white family, being in this white community, being in this white school was probably not going to work out well for him. Because people were not going to take the time to learn who he was inside. They were just going to react to who he was on the outside. And unfortunately for my brother, he was twice as big as the kids his age, and he had mental health problems, so he was not able to regulate very well. So people were able to just decide who he was instantly. He fit right into all their stereotypes. And it was around 10, 11, and 12 that he recognized that most of those stereotypes were negative. Sure, there were some people who were so thrilled to see him in the environment because they were happy that there was some diversity coming. But even those people overlaid their expectations on him. He was somehow supposed to be changing a dynamic that they wanted to see change. He somehow represented something that was important to them. Do you think he understood that? He didn't understand any of that. He saw all of it as expectations. People expected him to be this way or that way, and he didn't know how to be any of it. He started to recognize that, but he couldn't process it. He was a kid with mental health issues. He was 10, 11, 12 years old. How is he going to put that into perspective? So what happens? He got angry. He got dysregulated. He felt unsafe. It didn't work out well for him. Over time, my brother got sucked up into the system, and he went to prison for 25 years. And I saw the beginning of that change in him when he could no longer hang on to the notion that the world was going to respond to him the way my parents told him that it was. The world had decided who he was. And his best bet was to try to be the best version of that. And it didn't work out well for him. I saw it right there in this 12-year-old boy in his handcuffs. And I knew what he was processing in his head. And I knew he was realizing that he had done so much to be a good kid in the world and that it wasn't going to matter. And if there was somebody who was going to be chosen to be the scapegoat for bad shit, he was going to be it. And people weren't going to take the time to learn that he was a good guy if they had already decided that he was a bad guy. All I can say is if I had been that father, I would have lost my motherfucking mind right there on the street. And you know something? I'm sure he would have too if he had been a white woman. I'm sure he would have too. And the fact that he didn't shows you a whole nother turn of the coin. He can't express what he feels. He can't defend his son. His son can't defend himself. His son can't defend his father. Only the police could have done that. Only the police could have taken the extra time to figure out that that 12-year-old boy didn't need to have his life changed that day. And they didn't fucking do it. They didn't fucking do it. Shame on them.
At this point, I'll request you to read the comment up there. And yeah, this is the comment that the girl is trying to respond to. Let me let you listen to what she has to say.
Okay, let's think about this logically for a minute. The people recording what happened in Lansing, Michigan did exactly what they needed to do, which is film the police and their harassment of that young boy and denying access to his father. Had they not recorded, we would not know what happened. And of course, the narrative could have been spun. because that is typically what happens with the police. But to say that they didn't do anything or step up to a bunch of state-sanctioned people who were armed, that's not the route you want to go. Now, just so you know, people don't all have the same privilege across racial lines. Not everybody can get up in the police face and live to tell the story. Everybody ain't got the complexion for protection. A lot of times we can say what we would have done had we been in that situation, but for Black people, the main outcome is to stay alive. And that is what was happening. Now, I have said it before. When you are interacting with police, when you are interacting with racist people, keep recording, because most of the time they will lie to say that it did not happen the way that it did. And I think those people who are recording what happened in Lansing, Michigan to that child did exactly what they needed to do.
A police department in Michigan is facing criticism after handcuffing a 12-year-old boy who they believed fit the description of a man wanted for auto thefts.
Kindly, I want to hear from you. If you've watched to this extent and you've not commented, if you have anything in mind, drop it down there. So all opinions matter. So, could it be because of the criticism that the police really felt necessary to apologize, or what's your thought on this? I'm glad you've watched the video, and if you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Kindly click that subscribe button, also share the video, and let us make our society better than it is today, than ruining it anyway. Equality of gender, race, and everything. When will we ever get there? I'm glad you tuned in, and I'm so glad you're supporting my content, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.